You said that we couldn't have Olympic athletes smoking marijuana because somebody was going to get high and throw a javelin and stab somebody in the heart.
What you just said was hyperbole.
What did you say? You said that the javelin was going to do what? What was the javelin going to do?
I projected the question of, it's okay if somebody's running wall high in a straight line, but what happens if they're throwing the javelin?
And you know what you know what you said to me when we were on the phone? You said that you've never smoked weed before.
Correct.
So you don't know what the you're talking about.
We've all known there was always something fishy with Emmanuel Acho, right?
Oh, Acho. Let me get to Acho. Acho and I had this like pulling in different directions stuff. With Acho, he wants to be a star if he's not a star already. Like from Hello, I knew he wanted to be a star, right? Me, I just want to do the work. So we're pulling in different directions in that way. When you want to be a star, you want to pop off. You want to get it in. You want it to play big. And I didn't have that ambition. I didn't have that aspiration. I just wanted to do my job and do it the right way, the best way. So that's how we kind of, on the show, doing it together as partners, that was the first time I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting. We're going in different directions. And then immediately I started to hear stuff and know stuff that was like, oh, man, we ain't going to be partners like I want to be. But it's all good because I could work with anybody. He wanted his own show from Hello, right? From Hello. I didn't. Now, here's the problem. And I didn't have a problem except if you my boy, you my partner, you let me know this. He wanted his own show and didn't want to tell me he was working to try and get his own show. Now, if you would have just came to me like, dog, I love working with you, but I'm trying to get mine, bruh. Man, you already know. I'll be like, yeah, as you should. But I didn't hear it that way. I heard it through grapevine. I heard it from bosses. I heard it from contemporaries. But then I started to realize there were times on the show where when you're not pulling in the same direction, you leave your other partner out to dry, right? Like you ain't there for them because there's a rooting interest that is selfish. There's a rooting interest that this is going to turn out for you.
Even his former co-host Marcellus Wiley let us in on the man he is. He hosted Roger Goodell with absolutely zero pushback.
But what I could say is a black man, a prominent one, acting as an emotional butler for white people and serving them the most milquetoast, unspicy, unseasoned brand of racial discourse and accountability possible could definitely be harmful because what it does, I saw episodes where you were on there with Matthew McConaughey, and Matthew McConaughey out and out said, when will Black Lives Matter end? He goes, well, when is it going to be time for it to be over? But that's an outrageous question to ask at the time that he's sitting down with you. And in the conversation with the police that I watched you have, there was nothing tangible that addressed the systemic issues of policing that lead to unfair and deadly outcomes all over the country. It was about whether or not the police liked black people, whether or not they were nice to black people, and even, as I wrote it down, the police are human too. Emmanuel, who gives a like we're fighting for our lives. And to me, having a conversation like that at that particular time, it's not that it's a different method. Everybody has a different method. Is that it's the wrong method, is that it gives cover for a lot of the issues that you're supposed to be discussing.
Along with platforming police departments in the wake of the summer 2020 protests to get their perspective. Long and short, Acho is protecting his brand by being the both sides guy. Acho, a former NFL player turned football analyst who works for Fox Sports 1, has admitted, without anyone pulling his hand to do so, that he is lying.
I've never seen anything like this. No, not this freaking pimple. The fact that Caleb Williams, he says he wants assurances that the Bears are going to trade the #1 overall pick before he declares for the draft. Caleb Williams wants nothing to do with the Chicago Bears. Here is why. The Bears have yet to have a 4,000-yard passer in the history of their illustrious franchise. Never have they had a 4,000-yard passer in their franchise history. So what Caleb Williams is saying is the gravitational pull downward of the Bears is too strong for him to lift that franchise up. This is wild stuff from a college quarterback. I'm going to keep y'all updated.
The problem with this report is it was fake. It does not exist. Now, here's what we have feared for a long time. And Emmanuel Acho just flat out admitted it to the world. When Acho got called out for the bogus story instead of owning up to the error, the analyst admitted that it didn't matter if the story was fake so long as he got engagement out of it. He would then tweet and delete the following. In the event it was fake, I posted it to the least serious website because no lives are being lost on that post. Either way, real or fake, the video would garner traction, which would increase followers. More followers equals larger brand deals, understand? Guys, this is insane. This is insane. This is a man who is supposed to be credible. And I know some are going to be like, oh, I can't believe you thought he was credible. It's not that I thought he was credible. It's that much of his audience thinks he's credible. It's those who might come across an Emmanuel Acho video on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, doesn't matter, Facebook, they all see it and are like, wow, former player turned analyst works for a big network. Obviously, he's credible. And now he is giving away the game by telling you, yeah, what I'm saying might be fake, but I'm going to get followers out of it, and then I'm going to pitch different brands on the impressions, the likes, the views, the overall engagement I get. That's insane. This is malpractice. This is something that should never, ever happen. And yet he's telling the world that he's doing it for brand deals. Essentially what he's saying is, I posted it to TikTok, so it's not that bad. I'm spreading misinformation about a 21-year-old. Also, I'm being paid a lot for it, and that's good. Exactly. What it reminds me of is Ethan Strauss, House of Strauss on Substack, reported, I believe it was last year or 2 years ago, about how Adrian Wojnarowski allegedly puts together a deck on the number of impressions and the retweets and the amount of likes, the amount of comments, the amount of quote tweets to agents in order for them to leak information to him about their client. That's exactly what this reminds me of. It doesn't matter. And Woj is way more credible, by the way. It's just the comparison I'm making is pitching to different people or entities on the numbers you get. For Acho, he's saying it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong. Here's what I'm bringing to you. Why would a brand, this is a better question, why would a brand want to align with someone who is telling everybody in a now deleted message, it doesn't matter if I'm right or wrong, I'm going to them. He's telling you that he's not trustworthy, and yet some of these brands are going to line up to work with him? That's backwards. That's backwards, bro. There's another person who chimed in. Joseph Hoyt wrote, having a mass media platform is a privilege. Emmanuel Acho just admitted to willfully ignoring truth in the pursuit of growing his. If I ever design a curriculum for media literacy, this will be a shining example of why we're in an era of mass media misinformation. And awful announcing would put in perspective. Here's the thing. As a media member expected to work within the constructs of journalistic integrity, not journalism, journalistic integrity, because Acho is not a journalist, Emmanuel's argument here is terrible. Sacrificing integrity and truth in the name of clicks is everything that people in the sports media world are constantly pushing back against. It devalues not just your work, but the work of your peers. That's another important part, which is some cannot see the difference between Emmanuel Acho, the analyst, and I have a source who's breaking me news about Caleb Williams, because then he meshes together the journalistic integrity that some should have and uphold, and then him just saying, oh yeah, I don't actually have a source. I saw it on Twitter, and also you're helping me boost my numbers. Shame.